What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to 2Pixel Wide. Today what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be attempting I hope I can actually make this work, but it's going to be an experience anyway. I'm going to be attempting to install Final Fantasy XI on OS X Sierra. So as you can see here, we're running macOS Sierra version 10.12.5. So I've actually already installed this and have it working on my iMac. So I'm really hoping I can reproduce this on my MacBook Pro. So the first thing we need here is we actually just need to go into the App Store, and we just need to go over here, and we need to find Xcode. So the thing about Xcode is it still says that you need a developer account. I believe they're free. I'm not 100% sure of what you need to do in order to download Xcode, but for me, all I needed to do was search for it in the App Store and download it. So you just click here, click the get, let it install, do its thing. I've actually already pre-downloaded it, but I haven't actually opened it yet because this is actually an important part here. What you have to do is you actually, once it's all installed and everything like that, we'll just click out of here and actually go to the launch pad. So once this is all ready to go, it'll take it a little bit of time. It's a fairly big thing, I guess. And click agree, type in your password. That's not my password. Okay. So what it's going to do then is once you actually go into the program, it's actually going to install the components and everything like that. Yada, yada, yada. Again, this is going to take a little bit of time, but don't worry. Don't fret. And then we have this. It's a welcome to Xcode, no recent projects or anything like that. So this should be good to go now. Okay, but then everything is installed there. So we're actually just gonna close that right out. We don't need to touch that anymore. We're all done with that. Now here's what we're gonna do. We're actually gonna be spending a whole lot of time in our terminal. So what I have here is, I'm actually just gonna paste it because whatever. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do Xcode/select/install. And what we're gonna do is it's gonna be like, hey! So the Xcode select command actually requires the command line developer tools. So this is actually going to install the rest of the stuff that we need in order to do the thing we need to do. And of course we have the command line tools license agreement. We'll just agree on that. Downloading the software. So this will automatically install all the extra Xcode stuff that we need in order to do this. The software was installed. Perfect. Easy done. I love that. So one last thing we're going to do here with Xcode is just to double check. Now, normally this will already happen once you open up Xcode and do that initial install, but just in case you didn't actually get the license thing, just make sure you do this. License required, admin, okay, yeah, so we have to make sure we do sudo license password. Please scroll down, space for more, and we're just gonna space our way through this software license agreement by typing agree. Agree. Boom. There we go. So the software license agreement has been agreed upon, so everything is good that way. So now we're just going to close this. So now you want to do is open up your web browser, and we're actually going to look up Xquartz. We're just going to look up Xquartz here, because this is another thing that we need. And just click on here. And right here, the first thing, it's a very simple page actually. All we need is to click on Xquartz version 2.7.11 damage, whatever. And since I've already installed that, I'm just gonna, I haven't installed it yet, but I've actually already downloaded it. I have it ready here. So once the download is done, we actually just make sure we install this. Double click on this, click through, blah, blah, blah. Agree. Install. Type in your password. And wait for another install. Oh, lots of waiting involved. that it's done here, it's telling us we will need to log out and log back in to make exports your default X11 server. And that's exactly what we need. Installation was successful. I'm just gonna close all this down. Cool, and actually, why don't we actually do that? So, we'll log out. Cool. And then just log back in. Just like it told us to. Perfect. Now what we're going to do is we're going to open up Safari or Chrome or whatever once again. And this time we're going to look up MacPort. And this actually took me directly to macports.org. As we can see here, macports.org. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to installing MacPorts. And what we need is, because we're running macOS Sierra, we're going to click on macOS Sierra version 10.12. And once again, since I've already have this downloaded, I'm just going to close this out. I'm going to go to my crap file here, and we're just going to click on MacPorts and get this installed. Welcome to MacPorts. So continue, 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 agree, install, type in your password. And this one's a really quick install. But while you're waiting for that to install, it's actually a really good idea to read over a lot of the information that's on this website. This is a really interesting piece of software that you might be able to use for other things as well. It's really cool. It's a really cool little thing. And there's a lot of information in here about how to use it properly, so it's a good resource. So as we can see, the installation was successful, so we're just going to close out here. We're going to close this. And now, we're going to go back into our terminal. So now we've actually installed some extra functionality into our terminal. So now, so we're going to type in sudo port wine. What this is doing is sudo is giving MacPort administrative access, and this is going to make port download and install wine automatically. Everything it needs, everything, all automatically. It's going to be great. Watch this. Type in your password. Oh, no, duh. I'm stupid. Take two. Okay, so actually what we want to do, so we're actually missing a part here. What we actually need to do is go sudo port install wine. And then it'll ask you for your password if you didn't screw up the first time. And now it's just going to automatically do it. It's going to, computing, continue. I'm going to say yes. Fetching archive for everything. And again, it's going to do everything automatically. It's going to install everything automatically. And Wine is actually a really cool thing. Wine is what we're going to be using in order to make Windows programs work on macOS. It's a really powerful piece of software. And with the right tweaks to it, we can make it work pretty smoothly for us. So this is something I never did on my iMac, but you just follow there if you have a high DPI monitor and you want to do something crazy with it. Wine's registry editor. But since we're at 1080p right now, I'm not too concerned about that. So now that it's already installed and everything, all we have to do is go wine config. And when you run wine config, it actually automatically creates all the registry keys and everything else it needs. We have all this nonsense here. We don't really need to do anything with any of this, except for down here. So right down here in Windows version, we actually just want to make it Windows 7. Apply, and okay. We're done with this for now. Now what we need to do is actually get the game files. So the cool thing about Final Fantasy XI right now, in 2017, if you're still playing it for some reason, Final Fantasy XI download. So Square-Enix actually has all of the install files for Final Fantasy XI on their official website. So just search for it on Google and bring it down here, and what you're going to want to do is actually just grab all of these files. And of course, since I've already downloaded them all, that's not a big deal for us. And as you can see here, I have them all in this nice little folder. So we have these 3 RAR files and an exe file. What I actually ended up doing was unzipping the first RAR file. Leave the other 2 alone, but just unzip the first one, 001, and that will just make things a little easier for you. You don't have to, you can just run it through Final Fantasy XI setup and it'll run just fine. But I found that unzipping this one and just running things that way is a little easier, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So once you have all those installed, go right back into your terminal. And once we're right back into the terminal, what we want to do is now do wine file. And wine file will open up a nice, easy to use file manager. You don't have to do this. You can go through it the hard way and go through the writing everything. That's the hard way. Don't do it the hard way. Do it the easy way. So when you open this, it's actually going to be right in users already. So we just want to go to your user. You want to go to your desktop or wherever you saved the files to. It's all going to be there, but I saved it right to my desktop to make it easy. And then we just want to find the exe file that we want to open. Now again, you can use Final Fantasy XI setup. That doesn't seem to cause a problem. But since I've unzipped the first data file here, we're just going to go into that folder. We're going to go into Play Online, and we're going to go to Setup. So if everything installed properly and everything, you should see the Play Online install screen. So we're just going to click through here, accept on this, see program folder, that should be fine. So just click on Next, and it'll just install Play Online as normal. I did run into a bit of a problem with installing Play Online because I actually stopped the install at first, and that seemed to really screw things up. I actually had to delete Wine and reinstall. It was a whole big thing. So just let Play Online install and you won't run into any problems. Just don't screw around with it, basically. And of course, let's not bother with shortcuts. We'll make our own shortcuts later. Those won't work for us. So we'll just hit finish. So now we're back into this first data folder here. And before we went to the Play Online, now let's go to install one. And let's go to setup, and that's going to open up the Final Fantasy XI installer. So you're going to want to just install, so we have 2 different options here. Now I'm going to do a shortcut, which is going to cut a hell of a lot of time out of this install. But if you can't do it, you can just install everything as normal, and it should just run fine, and you'll have to do the updates as normal. If you have an updated version of the game already from another machine or something else, I'm going to show you a way to cut down a lot of time, because the updates can take hours and hours and hours, upwards like 8 hours to get all the updates from a fresh install. So hopefully you have a friend or something that can give you a copy of the game that's fully updated. There's also ways to download it online, but that's a whole other video that I could make because there's weirdness about that. But I already have a copy, so it's going to be really cool. So again, just click through here. Yes, sure. Now we're in this nice, beautiful picture that I think we've all seen before. If anybody's ever played Final Fantasy XI, you've seen this install screen before. It's pretty, it's low res, it's awesome. And don't be discouraged. The install bar will seem like it's not doing anything for a pretty long time at first, but it will actually get there. Don't be discouraged, don't quit out of the install. If you quit out of the install, I'm afraid it might be a real headache to get everything working again. Just let it do its thing. Again, go out for a walk, get a drink, do whatever. Just let it do its thing. Also, as you can see here, I think the install bar is broken because it's going to fill well before it's actually done installing anything. So there's that as well. Okay, and now that we're done here, as we can see, we just want to make sure that we're not creating any weird icons that aren't going to work anyway, and then go finish, and that's that. Now what we can do is go to the C drive, and as we can see here, we have program files, Play Online, Square-Enix, Final Fantasy XI, And what we want to do is go here to the Tools US, as long as you're in the US, or it's going to be like Tools something else, you know, Tools UK or something. And then what we just want to do our configuration here. Config? Nope, that's not the right one. Let's try that again. No. Okay. So we're going to go here, we're going to go to Final Fantasy config.exe. Again, this is all through the file manager thing that we opened before that we haven't actually quit out of yet. Anybody who's played Final Fantasy XI knows this screen well. You can do whatever you want here. You know, screen, we'll just do 1080. We'll do 1080. We'll do 1080. Textures, I don't know, probably uncompressed. You know, you can fiddle around with the settings. One thing I will say about this whole process is it's not going to play as well as it would in a Windows situation. So just keep that in mind. You might have to fiddle with your settings in order to get them just right. But the one thing we want to make sure we're doing is not showing the opening movie, because that will actually crash the game. And we want to make sure that we have a hardware mouse cursor on, because again, that's just another one of the things you have to have in order for this to function properly. And everything else should be fine. Again, play around with it as you need. Save, settings are saved. And now what we can do is actually go into our first boot of Play Online. So let's just click it right here. It's Play Online as usual, just next. So what it's going to do is it's actually going to update Play Online. So just do this as normal, update your Play Online, let it do its thing. Now, as we're waiting for this update as well, one of the things we want to keep in mind is the idea that you're not going to be able to use the windower. Now, for me personally, I don't mind. I like running vanilla Final Fantasy XI. I know that's sacrilege to a lot of people, but just keep that in mind. If you're going to want to play this game with the window where you cannot use wine, there are other options for doing it that way, but it does cost a little money. You know, there's or you can pirate the software or whatever. But what I wanted to do was try to find a way to play this game without, you know, purchasing anything or pirating anything. And this is all free. You don't have to pay money for anything that we're doing here, except for, you know, the monthly fee to the game itself. But you cannot use Windower with this. Okay, now that the version update is complete, we're just going to hit OK on this, and it's going to try to restart the Play Online viewer. So let's just see what happens here. So it closes, and it doesn't reboot it, which was expected. Now, if we go to double click on this, as you can see, we do get that same error. So this is probably going to be a thing that's just going to happen to you as well. Failed to replace blah, 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 blah. Please restart blah, 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 which is fine. But what happens now is if we try to click on this, it's just not going to do anything. It's not going to do anything at all. This is just a thing that happens that is probably going to happen all the time. So just close this, get out of this, and I wonder if it'll actually work if I just log out. Let's try to just log out and log back in. Okay, now we have to go back into the terminal. Don't worry, we're going to fix that problem momentarily, but let's get everything installed first. We're going to go back to Wine File. Okay, so now that we're back into the Wine File Manager, what we want to do is go back to the C drive, and then we go to Program Files, Play Online, Square-Enix, Final Fantasy, and Pull Boot. And this time, Pull Boot should start up real nicely here. It's going to tell us to update to the latest version, which it has already, so that's fine. Cool. Wait, oh, okay. I'm not sure what it was doing there. Okay, cool. I thought it was going to do the error again. So this time it actually rebooted properly, and then we get to player registration. Now, if you're new, if you click this button, it's going to tell you to go to the website. Let's just save you some hassle right now. Go to the website, register for an account, do the things you need to do. But if you're in 2017, you probably already have your account and everything. So we're just going to go to Play Online Members. So we get in here to Play Online, and all I have to do is just type your name. Now, of course, the first one is just a placeholder name. Doesn't really matter. Let's actually try to spell my name right, at least. So the Play Online ID is that archaic 4 letters, 4 numbers thing that nobody remembers. So you're gonna have to find that on the website or whatever. Of course, you're gonna want to make sure that you have a password. Don't worry about setting a member password if you want to. That's just for local security. your Square-Enix ID, which is a separate thing from the Play Online ID, so make sure you have both of those. And always make sure that if you're using a one-time password, which you should be using a one-time password, click on that. When you go to register, click yes, click OK, and log in to Play Online, where it'll bring you to this. Go to log in, type in your password, and your one-time password if you have one. And connect. So even if you're doing the quick way, you're gonna have to go through this first before you transfer the files. And here we are. We're logged into Play Online. Make sure you scroll all the way down, hit the accept button, hit OK, and it's logging us in here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit this shortcut button. We only get that shortcut button if you actually hit the exe file from within the Final Fantasy XI folder instead of the Play Online folder. Hit play, hit play. What you want to do is just initiate this this version check here. So it's actually going to check for the version, hit update. It's going to prepare. Just let it do its thing for a little while until it starts the download. So now that it has started downloading the thing, just hit that cancel button, cancel the version update. We don't need that, that's fine. Now, if you do not already have a copy of the fully updated version of Final Fantasy, let that go, let that continue. It's gonna take a long time. Like I said, it could take upwards of 8 hours for that update to go. But if you don't have any other way, just let that go and it'll be fine. It'll do its thing. But this is a much quicker way of doing this. And like I said, if you can find a way to download an updated version of it or have a friend that plays it, etc., it is highly recommended that you get a fully updated copy of this game. It's going to save you hours and hours and hours of just update time. Alright, so now we're just going to log out here, hit that yes button, exit the viewer. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to close the wine file manager. We're going to close this for now. Alright, so we're actually just going to go to Finder. We're going to go. We're going to go to folder, or just hit Shift Command G. And that's actually going to bring up a go to folder path. And what you're going to do in this path, you're actually going to type in this. And what this is going to do is actually open up a Finder window into the Drive C folder, which is actually pretty much impossible to get to from Finder unless you do it this way. So you go to Go, and that has opened up the C drive. Go to Program Files, go to Play Online, go to Square-Enix, put this off to the side. Now find your already fully updated files, which I happen to have right here. Yeah, just copy the Final Fantasy, that's all you really need. A newer item already, yeah, let's just replace them, that's fine. And there we go. And now we have those files. So now we just get out of this. Open up one file again. And now we're going to go to the C, Program Files, Play Online, Square-Enix, Final Fantasy, Pole Boot. So once you boot up the Play Online viewer, what you actually want to do is check those files just to make sure that everything went according to plan. So click on this, click on Final Fantasy XI, check files, and it's just going to run a check file thing of those files just to make sure that the transfer was good, that it's not going to have to do another update, and none of the files went weird or wrong. And if everything went okay, you're going to see no problems were found. Beautiful. So we're just going to go back. I'm going to click on this, log in, type in our password, type in our one-time password if you have it. We're going to hit that shortcut. We're going to go right into Final Fantasy again. Now, it's going to do that check one more time because it hates us. It hates us. So hopefully you're installing this on an SSD, because as long as you're on an SSD, the checks will take no time at all. If you're on a hard drive, these checks might take a while, and that might be a bad thing. You're going to get this error, unable to verify version information, blah, yada, yada, yada. Hit the retry. Hit the update. and it's going to do that check all over again. But I promise you this is the last time until they do an update to the game themselves. Alright, now the version update is complete. We're just going to hit the OK button here. And if nothing has gone wrong, we are actually going to be booted up into Final Fantasy XI. We're going to hit the accept button. Setting up blah 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 blah, acquiring blah 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 blah. And we're going to be here in Final Fantasy XI Glory. Select your character. Now, if you've done what most, good Final Fantasy XI characters have done in the past, you'll actually go right up here, load your settings from the server. And if you have played before, you probably have some settings on the server. You might have forgot about that. I know I did. And boot up into Final Fantasy XI. Boom! We have totally logged in to Final Fantasy XI on macOS. But of course we are not done yet, so I'm actually just going to shut down here, because we don't want to have to go through the Wine file manager in order to access this game every single time we want to boot it up. That's a pain. That's a real pain in the butt. So I'm going to actually show you a way to actually make an icon that will boot up to Play Online nice and easily. So actually, let's just shut this down. Let's shut this down. If you open up script editor, you go here, go to the script editor, double click on that. All right. And what you want to do is you want to create a new document. Now pause and just type all of this into the script editor. I'll wait. So this is actually a path I found on the internet, but I had to make a few exceptions. If you find the page that I went to, I forget which page it was, but here is a note. You have to edit this to wherever your pull boot is. So if you followed all of my instructions, yours is going to be exactly the same as mine for this. So this is where where the exe file is. This will usually just stay the same. You're gonna have to change this if you found it online, because the way we installed Wine is different than the way other people have installed Wine, and the way we did it means it has to go to opt local bin. Everything else should stay the same. So you're gonna type it all in and it's gonna look like this. Hit this just to make sure that there's no errors in it, and if all's good, you're not gonna get any errors, and it's actually going to boot into Play Online Viewer, just like so. Perfect. So we're going to close that. That means it works. And then what you want to do is you want to save this. And right here, instead of script, you're going to want it as an application. You're going to want it on your desktop and hit that save button. And now we can close this. And now we actually have a little icon that says Final Fantasy XI, and whenever we click on that, it's going to boot up to Final Fantasy XI. If you want to give that a icon, which I know you probably do, right click on it, go to Get Info, and that's actually going to open up this thing here. And then maybe just, go to Google, search like Final Fantasy XI icon, images, find one that you like. This one looks good. So we're going to view image, and you can actually just take this and drag it all the way over to here. And we have officially changed the icon. So now we have a great little icon. It says Final Fantasy XI. And whenever you click on that, it'll take it a few seconds, but it'll eventually pop up here into your bar, and Play Online Viewer will pop up. The only thing here is if Play Online decides to just not appear, like you click on the icon and nothing happens. That has happened to me a couple of times. Just reset, just log out and log back in, and that'll reset Wine and everything like that, and that should fix it. But there you go. That is how you install Final Fantasy XI on Mac. I hope that really helps you out. If you have any questions at all, feel free to leave them in the comments section. I'll help as much as I can. But I spent all day trying to figure all of this stuff out, and I hope it really helps you out. Anyway, peace out, guys. Have a good one, and get out there and play some Final Fantasy XI. It is a fantastic video game. We'll catch you next time.